Boom, 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 boom. And we're live here. Let's see. Let's get live on Instagram as well and TikTok. Boom. Live there and live there as well. Okay. Hi, everyone. It's 2:30 p.m. Well, it's actually 2:34 p.m. Sliding on the live starts here. So it's 2:34 p.m. on Wednesday afternoon. You're watching Innovation Fika with me, Donny, here live from Stockholm, KDH, Sweden. Yeah, KDH. Today is a episode about leadership. I've had a couple of guests the last couple of weeks, all about leadership, and I thought I'd talk to you about my take on leadership and some takeaways that I've learned and seeing. Also, some lessons learned from my own experience of being a leader. And also, of course, being a person with leaders in companies. I mean, you learn as much about leadership about when you work with leaders as when you actually are a leader. So some lessons learned and some tips and tricks on leadership today. Leadership 101, some things that I've learned. And happy to see people coming online as well. I have a bunch of people on TikTok there, a bunch of people on LinkedIn, and a bunch of people on YouTube as well. So, and as usual, ask questions, post questions in the comments, anything about leadership that you might want to know, everything you've always wanted to know about leadership, but never dared ask. Leadership, entrepreneurship, startups, anything about that you might want to know more about, just let me know. Post in the comments and I will happily take them up as well. As you come online as well, as usual, add who you are, say you are, where you're from, and we can get the networking going. I mean, this is a networking thing more than anything else as well. I usually have a couple of, across all platforms, I usually have around 100 people watching. So my main platform is LinkedIn. So that's also where I do most of my posts on the Mondays and the Thursdays, and of course this broadcast as well. And then I'm on Instagram and also on TikTok now and YouTube. So anyway, Donny here, Wednesday afternoon, 2:30 p.m. Innovation Fika, my innovation coffee break. And today we're talking about leadership, my 101 leadership, the best tips and tricks that I have for being a leader. So without further ado, let's get started, shall we? Let's jump straight in and get started with what I think is important for leaders to consider. So here's a bunch of top leadership tips from me, Donny. I'm guessing that you on TikTok, since I'm not streaming on a RTMP link, the visuals on screen won't come up on TikTok. But I'm working on getting the TikTok RTMP streaming to TikTok through my third-party streamer going as well. So we'll get that in. But anyway, here we go. My not top tips. Some tips about how to become a better leader. Tip number one. First of all, tip number one is be accountable. So the whole accountability thing. Take responsibility for the decisions you make. Man up or woman up, if we're going to use that expression. Make decisions and then take the hit if it goes bad. And if it goes good, don't take the credit. Give the credit to the rest of the people in the team. That's one of the underlying hidden things when it comes to leadership. When things go bad, you are responsible and you take the hit. When things go good, you give other people credit for it. That's kind of how it works. I won't say bad leaders. I'll say people who are in a managerial or executive position who tend to be not so good at what they're doing when it comes to the leadership part. They tend to do the opposite. They tend to take credit for everything that goes well, and then when things go bad, that's when they blame everybody else. So, and that's the wrong way of doing it. So think about it the other way. Everything that goes bad is your fault, and you take that blame. You take the hit. Be accountable for your decisions. And that's not just in leadership, that's in life as well. Make decisions and then you stand for that and and if it's the wrong decision to make, then admit that it was the wrong decision to make. And hopefully then you can learn something from that and make a better decision next time. So, I mean, the learning thing is important as well. So, number one, be accountable. Take responsibility for your decisions and for what you decide. Tip number 2 is kind of connected to the first one. It's actually be humble, and be humble that you know you don't know everything. You might know some things, but you don't know everything. 2, when it comes to the humble part and working with people part, remember that you've actually employed people for a reason, to do a job that you either can't do or don't want to do yourself. So hopefully they know a lot more about doing that job than you do. So you have to be humble in that as well. So be humble with that. And also be humble with that, as I said, and as the saying goes, the older you go, and the more you learn, the more you realize that you don't know. So when you're 18, 19, 20, 20, when I was a young leader, like 22, I was in the army, you kind of know everything. And then when you get older, you realize there's so much left to learn. So that's another thing, be humble and understand that you don't know everything. You need, it's a team thing, right? It's a team effort. You need other people's help to do stuff. That's just simply how it is. So that's how it works. Oops, look at that. Boom, 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 boom. Exciting stuff. Things happening all the time here. Cool. Okay. Sorry. Always fun with the live thing with the cameras falling over. Oh, well. That was interesting. Are we still live? I don't know. Sorry about that, everybody online here. I had a bit of a camera issue on my desk. We're back, I think. I don't know. Maybe we're back. Be humble. That was number 2. Number 3, then. Tip number 3 is always be learning. And that kind of goes into the whole be accountable, be humble, be humble, and understanding that you don't know everything. Always be learning. I mean, it's if nothing else, you cannot say that, well, you learned something 10 years ago and you're still doing it today and everything is perfect. Because, I mean, the world has developed 10 years later. If the book was written 10 years ago, it's 10 years old. So a lot of things have to be relearned and reset all the time. So you have to sort of admit that things change and you need to change with time. Some things are very similar to others. I mean, how people like to be treated and how you treat people and so forth. But then you need to learn new things all the time, and you need to understand things that as you work with new people, you'll have new influences and new opinions coming in, and you have to learn how to work together with other people. So it's always a learning experience, and learning new things. So I think that being a leader, more than anything else, is a learning position than any other position. I think that's really, really important. So always look for something to learn. Always, and we talked about that in the first pointer when it came to accountability as well. If you take a hit for something that didn't work, what did you learn during that experience that obviously didn't work that you will do differently next time? Most people can talk about learning from their mistakes. Very few people actually sit down and think about what they can learn from a mistake or something that didn't go well. And even fewer people take those learnings to the next time they're doing something. They just continue doing the same thing all over again. It's really weird thing that. So always be learning. And the next one then, of course, well, not of course, but is a very important thing for leaders in general, is be action oriented. Take decisions. Don't be afraid to make decisions. Better to make a decision and change it, reiterate, than wait and not make any decisions at all. However, there is a very interesting distinction there, because we're not talking about being impulsive. We're not talking about making rash decisions and just running into things and changing your mind all the time. And people do not appreciate leaders who change their mind and take rash decisions and are constantly changing direction, which is, of course, is a balance between being able to listen to where you should be going and then making small adjustments and pivots. So it's a fine balance between being very, very action oriented, never be afraid to make choices, never be afraid to take decisions, and then you stand by them and then you work with them and see if they work or not. However, that is not the same thing as being impulsive and making lots of rash decisions. Okay. So another one, improve your communication skills. This is also interesting because a lot of people tend to speak more in a way that they are, it's, it's more important that they get to say what they need to have said than them actually trying to figure out if the people they're talking to are either listening or understanding or getting it in the way that you are communicating it. You need to learn how to communicate what you want to get across in a way that the people that you are addressing actually listen, hear, and understand. And as a good friend of mine once said, it's not about what you want to, get out, or the message that you want to project out. It's the important thing is what other people get in. It's them getting something in, which is the important thing. So you need to understand how to make that work, improve your communication skills. And usually it's also, as a leader, you listen more than you talk. Listen, listen, listen. Then you decide, you take a decision, and then you take accountability for that and be responsible for that. And then you learn from that decision, did it work or not? And then you can listen again more. So, the whole thing about 2 ears and 1 mouth. So we listen double the amount of time than we talk. So just because you are set in a managerial position doesn't mean that you should be talking more. You should be talking less. So listen more and improve your communication skills. Make sure that you can communicate in a way to make people understand what you are trying to say. Very important. Next one then is be consistent. And all of these kind of go together. It's, the consistency and how you take decisions, how you communicate, how you act. You want people to feel comfortable with that. They know how you react. They know how you work. They know how you are. You don't want to come across as a super impulsive, completely unreliable. You never know what's going to happen. You never know how the person's going to act, because that creates a really, really bad environment where people just don't dare speak up, or they don't dare do anything because they never know how you're going to react. Is he going to be happy? Is he going to be angry? What's going to happen? Is he going to throw me out or not? I don't know. So, and it's the interesting thing is that the consistency in, no matter how you act, consistency is usually the most important thing, because then at least people can relate to who you are and how you are. I'm not saying that being a consistent asshole is a good thing, or being an asshole consistently is a good thing. It's not. I'm just saying that you don't want to keep people guessing. You want them to know where they have you and how you act. So you need to be consistent in how you act as well. And then finally, for my long list of some top leadership tips, I would say that leadership is not about what you are. It's not something you are. It's what you do. So, I mean, being a leader it's not like I am a leader. It's not something you are. You cannot say that you are a leader. It's something you do. You lead, and people follow or join. You can be a manager. You can be a boss. You can be an executive. That does not mean that you're a leader. It's it's a different kind of thing. It's many people I know that are in managerial positions are not leaders at all. And many people I know that aren't in managerial positions are very strong leaders, yet informal leaders. It's people you respect and you listen to and you look up to. The kind of thought leaders and other kind of informal leaders, really strong individuals. And the paradox is, of course, that that kind of people. I wrote about this in my LinkedIn article this weekend when I wrote about power. I wrote a long article about power and how power intoxicates and also corrupts. So if you want to read that, you go to LinkedIn and my profile and then articles, and then there's a long article about how power corrupts and the danger of power. And I think that a lot of people who want to be in power, they have no leadership skills at all. They just want to be in power. They want to be in power for power's sake. That's kind of, part of what they want to. They see themselves as that, and power for them is a, it's the means, it's the goal for them to be in power. However, that's not leadership. That's not leading people. Leaders are people who empower other people, who inspire other people, who make other people grow, who get people from one place to another. Loads of things that goes into leadership. And I've had a bunch of tips here. So be accountable, be humble, always be learning, be action-oriented but not impulsive, improve your communication skills, be consistent, and remember, leadership isn't what you think you are, it is what you do. You prove yourself as a leader every day and all the time as leading people. So that's a really important thing when it comes to leadership. And anyway, so that's a bunch of tips from me. This Wednesday afternoon, April 24th today. Yeah. As always, Wednesday afternoon, 2:30 p.m. Every Wednesday afternoon, a short coffee break chat with me, usually with a guest, today only with me. I will leave you with these leadership tips. Be accountable, be humble, always be learning, be action-oriented but not impulsive, improve your communication skills, and be consistent. Follow that and you will be a lot better than you were yesterday. I can promise you that. With that, I will say thank you very much. Have a fantastic rest of the week. I will see you next week, Wednesday afternoon, 2:30 p.m. I think hang on a minute. I'm traveling next week. I'll record something for next week's Innovation Fika. I'll be on the Faroe Islands giving a talk, which is kind of cool because I was born on the Faroe Islands and I've never been back. So I'm going to go back to the Faroe Islands to give a talk at a conference next week. Hoping to be on the Innovation Fika. Not sure. We'll see. I'll let you all know. But for now, I'll say thank you very much and goodbye. And yeah, that's about it for now. End live video. There we go. And end stream.